Crazy Chicken Lady here. I've had a lot of people ask me to do a renewed video of my challah bread making for Shabbat because the old one was too dark to see, so I'm going to make one today. First, I thought I'd show off my beautiful Primary Colors Pyrex glass bowl mixing set, circa 1950s, 1960s. I was super lucky to be able to find this set in a little antique shop. So the two that I'm going to need today are the green, which I'm going to start with, and then I'm going to let the bread rise in the yellow one. So putting these cute ones aside over there. So we're going to start with green. And first we're going to start off with 1 1/4 cups of warm water. I believe when I've watched other videos, they say the temperature should be about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. But for myself, having made bread so much, I just basically have it to the temperature like what you would do to test formula or milk in a bottle before you give it to babies. So I just kind of put the tip of my finger in. It's about the right temperature. Too cold, it won't activate the yeast. Too hot, and it will kill it. So 1 1/4 cup goes in. 2 level teaspoons of yeast, like so. And about so of flour, which equals to about 1/4 cup. Just kind of throw that in there like so. Get yourself a handy dandy fork. Mix that well together. Somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes later, you're going to find some lovely bubbling effect. So while you wait for this, see it's nice and even there. So while we're waiting for that to bubble up, I can mix in the other ingredients and then we'll continue on from there. Okay, so we're back. Hopefully I can be a little more serious this time because in part 1, I had my very handsome husband as my videographer and he was doing his level best to make me laugh. So I'll see if I can be a little more serious this time around. Anyway, so this is a beautiful rise to the yeast. You can see lots of nice froth there. It's so much easier to make bread today than it was historically because now you can just kind of throw a packet of yeast in and feed it so that it rises. Whereas maybe the early 1800s, the miller and the brewer were pretty close together because the miller would have to go to the brewer to get the brewer's yeast that they'd have to skim the very top part off to put into a container to feed that and let that rise. So making bread today is such a delight. So anyway, that was the water with the 2 level teaspoons of yeast and a little bit of flour. So then I can put in some other ingredients. I'm reading from my list that's up here on my cupboard door. So I'm going to start with 1/3 cup of sugar. Wonderfully measured out here. So we'll start with that. Mix that in just a wee bit. And then we have a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I used to use olive oil, but now I use just a liquid coconut oil. So 1/4 cup there. And actually, this is actually the first week I'm doing this, so this is going to taste really neat. It's going to add a little bit of nice extra flavor there. Okay. Okay, so, and on top of that, we're going to put 1 level teaspoon of salt. And 3, preferably farm fresh eggs. 1, 2, 3. You will need a 4th to do your egg wash before you put it in the oven, but when preparing for your recipe, do make sure that you have 4 eggs available. So these are all the liquid ingredients put together.
Together.
There we go. All right, yolks are broken. So I've got 4 pre-measured cups of flour. So I'm going to do it 2 cups at a time so that I mix them in properly. How much flour you wind up having to put in, again, because it becomes kind of a baker's preference. You'll know when you have enough flour in. Sifter's very old. Okay, so that's it. Okay. That's 2 there. Okay, so now I have 4 cups of flour mixed in. A little extra flour here just to start kneading in here. So you're going to knead this until you've got all the flour kneaded together up from the sides. If you loved Play-Doh as a child, this is a fantastically fun job, this. I'll put a little bit more flour. So, as you're working this through, once you have all of the kind of working through, getting up the flour up from up the sides. Of course, I'm going to have to go like this to make sure I do this right. And once all the flour is worked in from the sides and the bottom, and that's where your clean bowl comes in. And then, you kind of do a little bit of a mimic of a bit of kneading here. It's not going to be fancy or anything, so that comes later. It's all, woo, here we go. So what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to spoon this lovely mixture into the bigger bowl, where you would then cover it with oh, why not? I'm there anyway. Good enough. That's bigger clean bowl. And you just kind of scrape your mix in. As much off the sides as you can. Actually, just realized how heavy that green bowl is. My goodness. It's like, yay, I didn't actually drop that into the yellow bowl. So yeah, these are really heavy bowls. New discovery for me today. Okay, so this goes to one side. My hands go to get cleaned. This will get covered either with a clean tea towel or plastic, and then I'm going to set it. My pantry behind my lovely husband there has put it in a place where you can have kind of some moisture in it. So I've got plants in the pantry, so I'm going to clear off a bit of the counter space that's in the pantry and let it rise there for somewhere between 2 to 4 hours. You're going to want this to double in size. So I'll see you in a little while. Back. So here is the dough that has risen to over twice the size. So when I had said cover your bread to rise, I said plastic or a tea towel. I chose a tea towel because I'm rather anti-plastic if I can avoid it. So that was covering this lovely dough, and then I had it in the pantry. It actually, I think, was sitting for probably about 4 hours. So the step here is to prepare parchment on your baking sheet over here. And I'm going to give this a good punch with some flour on it. In here is where I'm also going to put, this is where you get to kind of ask your family what kind of spices they want in it. Do they want sesame seeds on it? Do they want different types of seeds on it? I've actually had one that had sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, and pumpkin seeds. Did I get all 4 in there? I had like 4 different kinds of seeds on it. So this one I'm going to do with cinnamon, currants on the inside, and possibly I'll do half of the bread with some organic sesame seeds on the top and leave the other half without seeds on it. So I'll start kneading it a little bit just to see how this begins. Got a little bit of a skin on it. It doesn't happen when you have the keep your hands from getting too sticky. A little bit of skin that just gets kneaded in. So the process of kneading is about 5 minutes, but what you're looking for is for the consistency of the dough to bounce back, which means you've activated the ingredients, the gluten to rise. So instead of putting it on a baking sheet or what's the word I'm looking for? Cutting board or some kind of board to do my kneading, I just do it right in the bowl because the less dishes, the better. So just make sure that it doesn't get sticky. If it gets a little sticky, a little bit more flour, and again, you just kind of go along the sides of the bowl, make sure you don't miss any. So here I'm going to put my cinnamon on top, like so. We like it really spicy with the cinnamon, so I'll put a little more flour on top. This is so therapeutic doing this. It's great when you get your kids involved with this. Children learning how to bake is a fun thing for them to do. It's like Play-Doh, but you get to really eat it afterwards. So once you've got the consistency where it's bouncing back at you, then you're going to separate your dough into 3 even pieces, and then you're going to roll them out flat, or you can stretch them out however is most comfortable for you. so that they're long, so you can braid them out onto your cookie sheet or baking sheet. Here's starting to get a little tiny bit sticky, so just a tiny bit of flour, not too much. So my hand's staying an awful lot cleaner this time around. Very shortly before I put the braid together, I'm going to knead in my currants so that they're evenly distributed throughout the bread. So I'll continue on here, and then I'll show, and I'm gonna put it onto the baking sheet, covered again with a clean tea towel, and then I'm gonna let it rise again for about 30 minutes. Just a little bit bigger than what it's gonna be when it's put on. So it's gonna puff up again, and then that's when I'm gonna put some sesame seeds on top. And first I'll do the egg wash. That's where your extra egg comes in, is you egg wash the top of it. And I might show just a very quick bit of video just to show that before it goes into the oven. Looking up at my recipe here, 325. I've got 30 to 40 minutes written here, but because I've been baking for a while, I don't even set a timer. I bake everything by visual. I look. I barely even have to stick something into my pastry or bread or whatever I'm making to know when it's done. So, great place to get to. So, we'll see you in a bit. Take care. Has been decided he was going to hilariously reintroduce me to this last segment here. Anyway, so I cut my dough into 3 pieces. Braided it onto my cookie sheet here. Got a fresh towel tea towel to put on top of it. I let it rise for about, I'd say about 1 hour. I'm going to say an hour because there's a little flexibility there. So I went and did some other things while I allowed this to rise again. The egg wash is on. The currants are in it. It's full of cinnamon. And I did some organic sesame seeds on half of it, and I'm going to run real quick while you get a view of that to get my cinnamon, because I just want to give this a quick dusting, like so. A little bit of it. I should have done that before doing the application of the sesame seeds, but hey. There we go. So my oven is preset to 325, and as I said, I don't do the clock thing. I will just kind of come in after 25, 30 minutes, and I'll know by looking at it whether it's done or not. So with time, you get to know your oven, and with practice, you get to know how to bake better. So this is going to go in now, and I'll just show kind of a picture at the end to show what it looks like when it comes out. So away it goes. 325. Here we go.